And welcome to Hannity. The attorney for Officer Eric Casebolt spoke out earlier today about her client's resignation in the aftermath of that out-of-control pool party in Texas. Watch this.
Eric's actions at the Craig Ranch neighborhood were only an attempt to investigate the reports of violent assaults. His purpose was to interview as many persons as possible to determine who was involved. He believed that those who fled were possible suspects. He was not targeting minorities. In fact, he also detained a white female who you do not see on the video. His efforts to gather information was hampered by some teenagers who were instructing others to defy police instructions.
Now, the video seems to back up what the attorney was saying. Now, we have slowed it down for you tonight. Now, after detaining the teen girl who was reportedly defying his orders, Officer Casebolt was surrounded, and two people, as you see there, came up behind him, forcing the officer to draw his weapon. Joining us now is Adrian Martin. That's the person you see on the left side of the video who came up behind Officer Casebolt. Also with us is his attorney, Heath Harris, is with us. All right, thank you for being with us. Adrian, let me start with you. I look at the video. He is dealing with this young girl who's on the ground, and then there you come up and you're doing some little dance, kind of provoking him. You're almost behind him. You're out of his sight of vision. Why were you doing that?
First off, Mr. Hannity, I'd like to start off by saying, if you look at the video correctly, there's several people that are surrounded the officer.
And you're one of them, and you're doing a little dance, obviously trying to provoke and get in the middle of the police doing his job. Why were you doing that?
No, sir.
No?
What had happened was...
Were you asking?
No, I haven't.
No,
you were there
absolutely not.
So what was the little dance you were doing?
Okay, as you can see in the video, I'm trying to communicate with the girl, tell her we are going to call her mother. Me and my friend, we both are.
Really?
As you can
That's
see,
what you're doing? Why does that seem suspicious to me? Because I'm looking at you and I'm watching you get up kind of right behind the officer, and you're like moving in a provocative way that seems to me, at least looking without hearing anything, it looks to me like you're trying to get in the way of the cop doing his job. And then he comes out, from his perspective, he doesn't know if you have a gun or a knife or what you're doing behind his back, does he?
No, sir, but as you can see, like I said, we are on an incline, and my friend accidentally bumps me twice, which makes it look like I'm charging toward the officer, but as you can see in the video, I slip and back up immediately.
I don't see anybody bumping you as you're doing what looks like a little provocative dance there. I don't see anybody bumping you.
Okay, but if you look at the video in an objective manner, you will clearly see that they're on an incline. The person behind him bumps him not once but twice. And the dance that you're referring to is him shuffling down the hill.
Counselor,
slow it down, please.
We're going to slow it down. There it is.
And you're going to see the other individual bumps him not once, but twice.
But that doesn't answer the question.
He stumbles.
But that doesn't answer the question, Adrian. Why are you going up almost right in this cop's grill? You're right in his face. You're like 2 feet away from him when he's in the process of doing his job. Why are you doing that? If you look at the video, Mr. Hannity, if you look at the video, what you're going to see is he's on the incline. He's accidentally bumped in the officer's direction. He immediately backs up. You're making a big deal about because the cop turned towards him.
Exactly,
that's why
I'm making a big deal because an experienced officer, correct, the officer turns towards him, looks at him, he's at least 5 yards away from him.
Are you going to speak for your client, or is your client able to speak for himself at all?
That's my job.
Okay,
that's my job.
You're not a potted plant. I got it. Great line.
Yes, sir.
But that doesn't seem like too big a hill here. But I'm looking at this video objectively. Here are cops doing his job, and it seems, Adrian, like you're getting pretty close into his grill, into his work zone, and you're being provocative while he is doing his job. Why did you do that?
Honestly, sir, I wasn't being provocative. I had no intention on charging the officer whatsoever, and I disagree with what he did. I honestly don't think he should have drew his weapon because I backed up immediately, not when he looked at me, but as soon as I got down there.
But let me ask you to get in, try and be a police officer, all right? You're in the middle of an arrest. It's obviously a very volatile situation that's evolved. You're the cop.
It's a volatile situation.
Okay, well, this is for Adrian. I'm asking
yes, sir,
him.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry.
It's a volatile situation there, and he's doing his job, and then out of the corner of his eye, he sees two guys maybe 2 feet away from him, behind him. Can you not see from his perspective that that is a dangerous position for him to be in? Adrian?
Okay, sir, I do see that, but can you answer this? In what point of the video was I ever behind the officer? You can clearly see I am
you're outside of his line of sight.
side by side.
You're 3/4 of the way behind him.
Sir, if you look at the video from
So
the
that cop doesn't know
even
if you're
when he
there to
comes
hurt
down
him or
the
not.
hill,
That
I
cop
agree
doesn't
with
know.
you. I agree with that point. I agree with that point. But
Right.
everyone there was pleading with the officer not to hurt the little girl. They're pleading with the little girl to calm down so that he won't break her neck. And at that point, when he's in contact with the little girl, he's trying to force her face in the ground. His command to her is get your face in the ground. That's not lawful for an officer to do, sir. And if you look at the video, he immediately backs up.
Again, audio
when he
would
backs
tell
up,
a lot.
I agree with you. I would agree with you that when Mr. Martin comes off that hill toward him, he had every right to protect his weapon. But a trained officer with his experience should have just like here's
what you're missing. You're missing a point.
No,
you're
let
missing
me
a
give
point.
you the main evidence. There are 3 other officers that are out there. If they believed that Mr. Martin was trying to harm that officer, they would have drawn their weapons. But based on the totality of all the circumstances, none of those officers drew their weapons.
Those officers,
what they did, they came up and restrained.
I'm limited on my time here. Those officers
yes,
had a much different perspective because, again, your client, Adrian, is out of his line of vision and behind him within 2 feet in a volatile situation. And you're right, he has to protect his weapon. That's a very good point
but
that
he
you're
didn't
making.
pull his weapon
Now let me
until
make
he's
one
in
more
his line
point.
of vision.
My only question, are you planning to sue the police department over this now?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What we want to make sure is that this officer is held accountable for his actions. And a mere resignation is not sufficient.
Well, what do you want, put in jail? What do you want?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You want the officer in jail?
That's up to the citizens of Collin County.
You're dreaming.
But what he's guilty of is official oppression. If you look at official oppression, he clearly used
official
excessive force.
oppression.
Absolutely.
Are you
sir.
serious?
I am a former
serious?
public integrity prosecutor. Yeah.
right.
Here in the state of Texas, we have a
some
statute
advice,
that
friendly
is
advice.
3903.
Okay.
Let me explain to you why I believe
I don't have the time for that, but I have to go. But
Well,
I have
look
some
up
advice,
official oppression.
sir. I have some advice for Adrian.
Yes, sir.
If you see an officer in the process of doing his job, you cannot come in behind him or at an angle where he can't see you. And if you're unhappy with how he's doing his job, you had other alternatives. You could have gone to the other officers and said, hey, I don't like what's going on over here. But going behind an officer, you've got to understand his mindset. He doesn't know if you have a gun. He doesn't know if you have a knife. You're right in his grill. You're within 2 feet of him. And that's a dangerous position to put yourself in.
Mr. Hamilton,
So I think there's a lesson to be learned here for a lot of people.
He never intentionally approached the officer. He was not.
He was within 2 feet of him, sir. I can
but he
look
never
at the video.
intentionally approached the officer.
He's
like
doing
you're trying
a dance
to say he
in front
charged
of him.
him.
He's provoking him.
He is not doing a dance. He stumbled off the hill, sir, and then he immediately backed back.
Look
up official oppression because that's what he's going to be charged with. Thank you, sir.